director and a city engineer to help move us forward. We approved a emergency hire for a city engineer that is currently with us. That's a time frame. If we're asking in your administrative report, where are we at for moving us forward, both for those two positions? Do we have RFP for both of those positions? This is like month full, it's been a while, and so I want to just make sure that you're hearing what we're asking, and we're not saying that no one's doing anything. We're saying that, yes, we currently have an emergency appointment for city engineering, but that was supposed to be for a time and a place. And we're saying, where are we currently at for moving forward to make sure that we have a city engineer and a city treasurer for 2019? And so if you can give us that update.
Is the treasurer's posted, am I?
Yes.
Yeah, the city treasurer's posted. So
Yes, sir.
that's posted, and I'll double check to see if the engineer's posted. Councilman Wallace is of the opinion that it's not. If it's not, we'll look to get one
In the
posted.
different, please email us, let us know.
And remember, council, any assistance y'all want to provide is welcome right now. Your record.
Yes,
If
sir.
you want a city engineer, you're welcome to help me with the posting.
So
Because right now,
for the record, you can't just post for a city engineer unless it's gonna be, is it gonna be an employee or is it gonna be a contractor?
It was supposed to be a contractor.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to go through the RFQ process.
That's what this conversation, we have had a city,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
this
that.
conversation is 6 months in the making. And I don't know why we keep going over this like we just got here. We are simply saying that we're trying to move the process, and it's our responsibility to just ask an updated question on where we're at. We should not still be asking for the RFP process as if nothing has taken place for like 6 months. And so it is a consultant position. The treasurer position was an employee position.
You can
And
post
we
for that.
identified these positions, but these are 6 months in the making, and so we're trying to figure out where we need to be updated at. The mayor says we're more than glad to help, and so we appreciate that, and so we'll have some recommendations for the next meeting.
next, finance, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening to the mayor, city council members, department heads, residents of the great city of Prairie, and those of you who just happen to drop in. You have two reports there, one for the month of October and one for the month of November. The month of October is the one with the yellow copy. And just quickly, if you turn to the one for October, page 1, that's the first month of the new fiscal year. You'll see that on page 1, the revenue was $292,000. Expenditures was $183,000. Another $54,000 for capital outlay, leaving overage there of about $53,000. Also, you'll notice that the funds show as they're under budget, and they're primarily under budget due to the funds that are budgeted under public works that we haven't started receiving yet on those grants. And that's why it's showing an under budget position at this particular time in that magnitude. If you look at page 2 of that October report, it's the first month of revenue. And you see that for the month of October, we actually had a drawdown in revenue of $63,119. And that's to be expected because you really don't have any property tax money coming in the month of October, because that's really that's the month before your renditions went out. Property tax money started coming in for the new year in November, and you'll have your major influx of property tax money coming in the month of December and January. Okay? And that's one of your major revenue sources. So you'll see that money come in during those time periods. That's all I have on the month of October. If we move over now to the month of November, the second month in the new fiscal year, on page 1, you'll notice that revenue to date is $555,000 versus the budget of $897, or unfavorable variance. And again, that again is primarily due to the grant projects that we have in this period, that we haven't started receiving the monies yet, but once the projects become more active, then the monies will start coming in. Those monies will come in because they're grant funded, okay?
Would that grant include the $350,000
Alta Vista?
sewer upgrade? in Alta
Yeah,
Vista?
right, yes, Alta Vista, and the other grant that you see in there is the James Hughes Parkway, which we haven't got no movement on at all yet, as far as that one goes. So that's why you do see a unfavorable variance, because with this budget process, we spread the revenue and expenditures equally over 12 months. We don't try to, because we don't know the timing of it, so it's just spread equally over 12 months, okay, when you spread it. So that's why you see that change there. Staying with November, if we go to page 2, you'll see your revenue. We had a dip of 43. It's only 46,000 now, so we have a little more monies coming in the month of November. And again, that's the trend you're going to see. In December, you're going to see a large amount come in for property taxes. In January, you'll see a big blip for property tax money coming in. And so that'll be the trend that you will notice as we go forward. Just bring to your attention, if you go to page 14 under debt service, we do need to make a transfer, and I'll be getting with the mayor and the secretary here. So we'll be making this transfer this particular week. If you look on page 14, you see due from general fund, $169,427. We need to make that transfer, and it'll come from the tax department. That's where our funds reside as far as those that we move over to debt service. We will have a bond payment that'll be due in the month of March, and we're gonna make that payment. We're gonna look at trying to make it in February so that we ain't no way short.
So we're gonna make it in February?
Right, right. Yes, sir.
That movement of money, transfer of funds, that has to be an agenda item, is that correct?
No, it doesn't have to be a agenda item. This is part of your budget. So what we do is we simply, these funds, they're all stored as property tax money. They're all stored on the general fund side in the tax department. And so what we do is we move those funds over to, same with the sales tax, it all comes into general fund, and we move it over to the property departments. So that doesn't require any council movement on it.
So this is, both of these are in the general fund?
No, these funds that we're gonna move are over in tax department under the general fund, right? Because they all come into the general fund, under in that bank account. All your property tax money come in and it's stored in the tax department bank account. And then we subsequently move money to the correct departments that they go to.
So you're saying, because I know they're both in the general fund, but the conversation I've always, because it's at a different line item, and we're moving from one to the other, at this amount, it would need to be a simple thing that we need to have in the records, and you're saying no?
You know, it's not in a different line item. The line items are the same. It's just like sales tax money. No different. This is property tax money. Okay, so you simply, you receive it in one bank, and then you transfer it to the other depositories that it should go to. And that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. Mhm.
Anything else? Mr.
Yes. So JJ.
Yes, sir.
I was given, I don't know if the rest of the council got this, but a street maintenance breakdown, of how the street maintenance and grass cutting, how that budget was given, and it was, I don't know, did the rest of the council get that? Okay, so I have a question. So for some of these things, like it'll say like hall, street service multiple times. You know, it may say like pressure washing, but is there any way we can get the actual specific, like exactly where it went to, or are there any notes or anything like that? So if it says haul tree service, you know, 4 different times, like, which,
Well, that's the tree cutting. How
right,
tree
right, I'm
cutting-
saying,
Yeah,
so.
We'd
so-
have to get with Public Works and see what actual streets that they cut. I mean,
But that's been in front of council. I don't know if it was just before Councilman Wallace came or at around that time. But he's talking, you're referring to the same ones we've been discussing.
I'm talking about just overall, the whole,
Yeah.
like, is there a breakdown of
Yeah.
each thing?
That was in the prior year. Right.
So well, this is something, that report is something that council had requested, a couple months back, and we got it at this last time.
Yeah.
The issue was, because we were supposed to have the line item breakdown of what was under street repairs and all the purchase things. So you're supposed to get us some subsequent information. So there was, street repairs is the item title. And then you said that there were 3 things that fall under that, and then we asked for what those specific expenditures were. And we got the specific expenditures, but we still don't have all the categories, because you said it's a number of categories. So if we're doing the kind of looking at what we're spending money on and making sure that we fall, like, because some of those things we didn't necessarily approve. Like, so we can't, so, you know, in this conversation kind of leads up to what we need to do as far as budgetary issues, right? So if we have, it says like $74,000 in the street maintenance budget. We should not we should not use all those funds on one specific thing, or it should be prioritized, and we've been asking for how this to be prioritized. So budget, if we're talking about budget-wise, can we get the breakdown on what that specific item is? And
You talking about the new budget?
In the new budget, we have an amount, so whatever that amount is, and that amount can be used on whether it be, we heard tree cutting last time, we heard ditch digging, we heard all these number of things. And what we're saying is if we only have, let's say the number is $1,
Right.
we need to know how much change we can put in the different, on the different streets in the community, and we need to devise a plan.
Right.
And so we don't want to use all that dollar on street repair when we forget the other 3 or 4 things that we should be doing. And so can we get that, which we be asking for? We got the expenditures, now can we get that number so we can come back and devise a plan? And I think
Okay,
that'll also help
I'll
us.
answer that for you. Right now in the budget, you have one amount, and what you referenced, it's an amount.
Mhm.
That amount can be divided any way you want to divide it going forward, and that's up to you all.
Right.
So I can sit with you, I've talked with
That's why me and Dante
Kendrick
been
and Dante,
talking around.
that we were gonna get together and we were gonna come up with the plan for that. So, again, it's whenever we get together, and we'll put that together.
Or we just finished it up.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, right,
good.
That's up to
Anything
you.
else from Mr. Johnson?
right,
Thank you, sir.
okay.
Judge is out, but y'all say y'all gonna get with him, and then put something else. Okay. Judge is out. Chief Solomon, police report?
Yes, sir, that report. We did want to update you guys on the Office of Emergency Management. We've required, we got approved yesterday for a high water vehicle. And we've also, Chief Bardot's here and Sergeant Garrett. Each month we go into these meetings on emergency management. I think we're about 90% where we need to be with that emergency management equipment. And we put $25,000 in the budget this year for emergency management. We've yet to use any of that money because we've gotten 2 boats through an emergency management grant with the chief. We've trained a high water rescue team, a swift water rescue team. We will be equipping that team with some of that money. And as I said, Sergeant Garrett's been working with the 1033 program, and we required a high water vehicle. We'll be reaching out to get another one acquired by tomorrow. And what we'll need to do is just pick those up. But just wanted to give these gentlemen and the judge and the other people that are on that team props. We're going into those meetings, and we go in with specific goals, and then we come back and we talk about where we are with those. And so we're making some real And so just wanted to thank those guys. And Chief's gonna talk to you a little bit about the water rescue for a second.
Thank you, Chief Solomon. To the mayor, the city council, members of the audience, my name is Veteran Bordeaux. I'm the assistant fire chief for Prairie View Fire Department. And I'm just basically here to give you a short presentation on our water rescue resource request. Earlier, I put this on each one of your chair to make sure that you have a PowerPoint guideline presentation of what I'm gonna be talking about. Basically, we wanna talk about the dangers of water and all this, and I'll come to a conclusion at the end of why this was put together. The dangers of water, how water moves in a powerful force, the cubic foot, which is 62.4 pounds, and traveling at 6 to 12 miles per hour, and 1 to 2 feet of water can cost a life, and 2 feet of water can float a car. So we're looking at the dangers of just water. And when you talk about flood, when you talk about swift water, you want to know the need for water rescue. Well, here in Prairie View, we're talking about our lakes, we're talking about the flooded roads, we're talking about Leandro Parkway, James Mew Parkway. All these areas, we've already experienced Hurricane Harvey, how these areas get saturated with water, and we had to do some rescues in those times. So we want to make sure that people understand the need for water rescue. Here in Prairie View is definitely something that is critical because we already know what can happen. The potential for flooding, like I said, for Hurricane Harvey, the popularity of water sports today, and drowning. We want to make sure even your skilled and unskilled participants, you have to make sure that they are properly trained and ready to handle a water rescue emergency. Just to give you a quick stat on Hurricane Harvey 2017, we had our flooded roadways, 290 in University, 290 Leandro Parkway, 290 in James Mews Parkway, and Business 290 in Ruby Street. These areas were, at that time when Hurricane Harvey hit us hard, was saturated. We couldn't, the roads was impassable, and we had no high water rescue. We definitely didn't have no boats. And so now that we do have our boats, and I'll just jump on that when I finish real quick, we are able to do more than what we could do before. The 2 water rescues that we had to do during Hurricane Harvey, one was a single person was trapped on the roof of a car in swift water, and that was at Leandro Parkway. Mayor Allen did come out there to witness that, and so that was a very scary situation to just sit idle by and just really can't do anything because we don't have the resources to do anything. We tried to go out there, but the water was just too strong for us. So finally, they did get a boat from Austin to come and perform the rescue, which was a good thing because when they came, the water had already started reaching up to the level where the lady was sitting on top of the roof. So she was rescued and she was safe. The other water rescue that the fire department did was on Ruby Street. I believe there was a family of 4 or 3, and we was able to take our one of our booster trucks that sits high and go down into the flooded area and rescue them out of their house. The only sad part about using vehicles is you can't see the road. All you see is water. So how do you drive a vehicle down a flooded road and all you see is water? You have to judge the mailboxes or the street sign and determine, am I on a road or not? So using a vehicle is not a good thing. To almost finish up, water rescue equipment needed. As you can tell, there are different things that you need for water rescue, and one of them for sure is not your structural firefighting gear. I experienced that firsthand. Going into a water rescue with all that heavy gear on, is not the right thing because you're not able to do anything and it's hard to maneuver in. But you need a wetsuit, thermal protection, Type 5 personal flotation device, a throw bag, carabiners, life safety rope, helmet, gloves, boots, whistles, and rescue knives. All these pieces of equipment you will need when it comes to dealing with flood water as well as swift water rescue. To finish this up, we're asking that the mayor and the city council approve the Office of Emergency Management to release the funds that we can purchase and equip at least 4 personnel that will make a swift water team as well as a flood water team to not only be able to perform the actions of rescue and saving lives, but also to be able to be well-trained, properly equipped so that we can serve the citizens of Prairie View, serve Prairie View A&M University, as well as the county of Waller. So we're asking that mayor, city council approve to release these funds so that the fire department can purchase the necessary swift water, flood water equipment to perform our job. And we do have 2 rescue boats, 2 brand new rescue boats that we will, in the near future, hopefully next month, display in front of city council for y'all to take a look at.
Quick question. Counselor, this is in the budget for their use, but they're coming back for release of funds?
Not under this agenda item.
Okay.
I think you just gotta count on paying that. It's already in there, it's in the budget.
Okay.
Money's in the budget.
Okay, Councilman?
So, I would ask that, we have a line, that we have what I'm gonna ask for is because it's kind of separated in all these things. I think you're saying we're talking about the Office of Emergency Management, that's in the police budget. And so if we can get a cost of what this is, what it's gonna be. And so, because we have several entities this is under the Office of Emergency Management, which allows us to loop in the fire department and all the other entities. But the budget is through the police department?
I'm not sure we put that under police when we put it into, when we put it into the budget, we put it under emergency management.
Do we have a specific line?
Yeah, we got a line, couldn't look at it right now.
Because it's not on the budget that I have.
And so the question is, would they submit to us the cost, like, if it's full 5, so if we're gonna equip, say, 5 people with all these things they're asking for, there should be an invoice, da-da-da-da-da, and then we just come back and approve it, we put it on the agenda, emergency management, da-da-da, and unless JJ can find it in the budget.
It's in there, it's,
Councilman,
give me a second.
it's not on the police budget, but when you guys approved that budget, that $25,000, in our last emergency management, we got the price of about $8,000 to equip a 4-man team, which leaves us the rest of that money in the budget. And like I told you as I started, we've not used any of that money as of yet. This will be the first time to equip that team with the equipment they need to do these swift water and flood rescues. So it'll be $8,000. And that $25,000 does not show on the police
Okay,
side.
the amount, the $25,000 is in the general administration.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a line item on the general administration, emergency management for $25,000.
Okay. Now the question is, just because it's in general administration and it's general, the question is, do they need to provide, how can they spend that money just freely?
Whoever is the emergency management
Uh-huh.
person, who is the,
Chief of police.
I'm the director, chief of the coordinator.
then that's where the decision is made. Whoever is over emergency management.
If you've got a line item, if your sole line item is for 25,000 for the offices of, what's it called? Office of
Emergency management.
Emergency Management. And these funds are gonna be utilized under that office, then yes, they can spend that $25,000 consistent with, under that line item, without having to come back for city.
No, Mr. Walker, I want to thank Mr. Walker for allowing us to utilize his lake. We're going to be doing our water rescue training with our new boats next weekend, the 26th and 27th, and you're all welcome to come out and watch us.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
My question was, and this may be to the attorney and to JJ, the line item has an amount that we approved. We never, and Chief, maybe this is to you, we never got we approved the amount for things to happen, but we never got to reconcile what that money is supposed to be for. And so,
That's not required under the law. I'm not, I mean, it's a legitimate question. If y'all would like to, and I'll defer to the budget officer, but, I mean, if you would like to specify that before let me give an example that is similar, that will help put it in context. You put $10,000 in the general administration budget for general administration issues. I don't think you're gonna require the city secretary to come back to approve to spend $500 on pens and paper.
no.
And so it's very similar.
But we do have something to where if they spend over $5,000,
Sure.
so that.
Oh, so you have a separate policy?
We've had that, which is the issue.
Okay.
This is where the rub has come.
Okay.
Because we haven't been following that.
So we have a separate policy that requires you to come back?
On what now?
I'm not sure what he's
Those are only
referring to.
capital items.
Yeah, on capital.
That's only capital items.
Okay.
General expenditure, general, expense items, there's nothing
It's
on
like
there.
payroll's over 5,000.
No, not payroll. For
I'm just
instance,
saying, it's
yeah,
an expense
you can
item.
have a repair in public works, and it's oftentimes, you run into that, 10, 15, the pump truck that come running, $10,000. See, that's a repair item. But what you were referencing, that's when you want to make a capital acquisition,
Purchase, yeah.
a fixed asset, capital acquisition.
So the equipment we're talking about is not a capital asset?
No, it's equipment for emergency management.
I have to defer to these folks, I don't know.
No, this is the equipment that you see on your PowerPoint. And it's all for emergency management. And if you like, everything that we spend in emergency management goes to the city secretary in the form of a receipt or in the form of a PO. So she'll have all of those.
Now, what you have here, Brian, is they can't go over that 25, once they exceed that 25,000, they gotta come to you guys.
They gotta come back.
You see, so they have to manage that 25,000. That's all they have for the year, so they have to manage that.
Okay.
And whoever is over that,
Yeah, that we're off.
that's what they're
Okay.
charged with.
The list of stuff that they provided to me seems more like the purchase of a weapon, a sidearm, which is not a capital expenditure. I mean, it's not, I mean, you're obviously not purchasing sidearms, but you're purchasing things that are similar in that in that context. Knives and ropes and carabiners and
That's needed for
Right,
this water rescue.
equipment stuff.
Okay.
Just supply.
Councilman Wallace, you were next?
Yeah, just two questions. One, you were talking about the training. You said 26, 27 one time.
Yes, sir.
What time we did that?
January 26th, 27th, and it's gonna be all-day event from 9 to 5.
Okay. And I'll be at the lake.
Yes, sir. 290 and James B. Parkway.
Okay, and then for Chief Solomon. Okay. I'll just ask him another time.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate the work that y'all are doing.
Of course.
Yes. Board news report, Officer White stepped out. Public Works, where do we go? Mr. Boston does.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents of the city of Prairie View. All right, in front of you, you should have the new operations report. And let me start off by saying Happy New Year as well. Hopefully, we start off this new year with a new week. This operations report is a work in progress, so it is open for some discussion. I'm currently working with Ms. Durham and the city's billing software. What this report is a combination of the billing software from the city as well as the day-to-day operations reports that we have with USW Utility Group operating for the city of Prairie View. So first, let me start off with the connection statistics. We do not have a total connection count at this time. That's a report that does come from your billing system. I will have that next month. I have it scheduled for Thursday to do some training with Ms. Durham on QuickWater, which is the city's billing software system. Underneath that, you'll see total receipts. I'm not 100% positive on these numbers, but these are the numbers that we did get from QuickWater. If you look at the total for the month of December, you totaled $171,292.17 in revenue. That's your water, sewer, deposit, penalty, and refund revenue. Your age receivables totaled in $189,338.72. I want to point out here, if you look at the 120 days, it looks like there's a large amount of revenue there that's still outstanding. You're looking at $94,669.36. Underneath that, you'll see that there's operation and maintenance expenses. This is broken out between water plant and distribution, lift station and collection, and administration expenses. Your total operation and maintenance expenses for the month totaled in $15,576.01. On page 2, you have your major maintenance summary. Typically, what you see here is any expenditure over $5,000 will be listed on this major maintenance summary. The only thing that we had that was over that dollar amount was the Brookside Lift Station at Richards Road. The lift pumps have been replaced and the insurance claim has been submitted in the amount of $35,551.93. If you'd like to see any other type of expenditures, ranging from $1,000 to, $10,000, just let me know and I can get those on there as well.
Mr. Bassett, one question. That insurance claim, is that with TML?
Yes, sir.
My question in reference to this lift station, we've had a claim at this same, is it the beginning one or the one down? Have we had a claim in this within the last year and a half?
Yes, we actually had 2 claims.
So,
The original claim that we had at that lift station is when we first took over. That lift station had some 5 horsepower grinder pumps in there that were inadequate and they shorted the ground. So along with that insurance monies that we received and the capital funding that we received from the city of Prairie View, we rehabbed that lift station and upgraded that lift station. Since then, because there isn't any surge protection in that lift station as of yet, there was another instance where we had a severe storm and lightning struck the lift station and caused both lift pumps to short the ground again. So these lift pumps have been repaired and replaced underneath this insurance claim.
but that's something that we can get, we'll get insurance back from the claim. But we also, because I just recall, like, we keep saying, the insurance is gonna do it, and like, we get an insurance check for like one amount, but it cost us like 1/2 that amount, or 1/3 that amount, to actually get to get what it is needed. So, where are we at with, I know we talked about going through and kind of mapping out where we at, where we having issues, what do we need to do to improve those issues,